find out from you what you make of the latest action by Justice Gertrude Torkornoo. What does the optics say in terms of governance?
So as lawyer Martin Pebu has said, it is within everybody's constitutional rights to be able to, seek redress of any grievance if you feel that a certain process is not designed to work the way it is worked. If you feel any kind of grievance, sure, the most proper thing to do then is to turn to the court to say, I have some issues with this process. Here are my grievances, address them. So as a matter of, or as a principle of good governance, that's the way to try and resolve or address any grievances that you may have. I know that the way it is looking, it looks as though a suspended Chief Justice who's part of the Judiciary who also embodies that institution is in some kind of quote-unquote a fight with the executive, in the sense that all of this was also triggered by a petition that the president received. But that is also part of what institutions are designed to do, to mediate tensions, issues, challenges that may arise, even among different branches of government, different institutions that represent our democracy architecture. For me, the long-term issue is how the courts decide the issues that are coming before it becomes precedent for how in the future we would end up settling some of these issues should they ever arise.
But let me find out from you whether you agree with those who think that perhaps for the image of the judiciary and for her own integrity, as it were, she shouldn't have even taken the step of filing the case herself at the court.
Well, I respectfully disagree with that position, right? Because if this issue also impugns on the integrity of the office of the Chief Justice, her person, and the judiciary as an institution, I can also see the reverse argument, which is do this to ensure that whatever you believe are unclear or unsettled questions around some of these constitutional provisions, do that, right? Yes, an element of that is I'm sure part of it is to ensure that she is sort of vindicated, throughout the process. But for me, some of the questions that would be answered, some of the issues that will be settled would also become precedents that I believe the judiciary as an institution may potentially also benefit, from it. So I don't think that, in my opinion, I don't think this hurts the integrity of the institution of the judiciary or even the integrity of her person, right? You can look at it as, well, I'm being accused of having done all these things for which I must lose my job as a Chief Justice. My integrity is at stake. And if the court offers me an opportunity to be able to defend and protect that integrity, I will use it. And so that's why I respectfully disagree with that position.
So do I hear you say that irrespective of how the case goes, as in the petition or this very case filed at the court by the Supreme Court, it will still be in the interest of the judiciary in the long term?
Yes, I think in the long term it benefits not just the judiciary, but I think it also benefits the country in terms of its governance architecture, because certain issues will be settled, certain questions will be clarified. And for example, one of the issues that constantly keeps coming up is the issue of transparency around Article 1406, Clause 8, right? Perhaps this process is telling us that at some point we may have to make some fixes to certain constitutional provisions if we don't like the way the process is currently designed.
And this question before you go, lawyer Kwekwa Sansari, for instance, is arguing that by her action, the CJ has shut every door of either being reinstated or being able to work with the executive arm of government. Do you see things the same way?
No, I mean these are issues that you are trying to resolve using laid down constitutional processes. These are institutional questions that you are trying to resolve, even if it is being triggered by a particular individual. So let's just say that when it is said and done, she's exonerated, right, for the sake of argument, right? I don't see how that then makes it difficult for the executive as an institution to be able to work with the judiciary as an institution. That, for me, is how institutions mature. That regardless of your deep disagreements, that whatever happens as a result of a particular process, you are still able to live in harmony, exert your independence, and be able to work together. That, for me, is the beauty of institutional maturity.
Dr. John Osae-Kwapong, thank you so much for speaking to us.
My pleasure.